player like Rublev, whose game is built around punchy ground strokes, speed off the mark, and taking space away from the opponent, optimized movement brings several concrete benefits. First, it boosts his speed in reaching balls that are hit wide or deep. If he can arrive earlier and in a better position, he can swing freely rather than scramble. Research on tennis movement shows that improved foot mobility supports faster ball response and better hit accuracy. Second, better footwork means he uses energy more efficiently. Fewer wasted steps, fewer off-balance strokes, fewer moments where he must recover from a compromised position. According to one article, by mastering movement, a player can glide across the court with minimal wasted energy, giving them a significant advantage over their opponents. Third, it underpins injury prevention and longevity. Unknown to many spectators, many high-level tennis injuries originate from poor movement or having to stretch from awkward positions. When a player continually lands or turns poorly, fatigue accumulates and risk goes up. Effective footwork ensures that each change of direction is controlled, the body is aligned, and recovery is faster. Rublev's emphasis on movement also helps him to impose his game rather than simply react. When he's able to step into his forehand early or close the court with purpose, he limits his opponent's time to settle into a rally and dictates the tempo. In elite tennis, the difference between reaching a ball late in full flight and arriving just in time with balance often means whether a shot is a winner or a forced error. Another dimension worth noting: when footwork is crisp, the transition from defense to offense becomes smoother. Rublev does not want to be stuck in defensive mode. He wants to transition into attacking quickly after retrieving. The better his footwork, the quicker he can convert a defensive ball into an offensive one, moving seamlessly from jammed position to hitting zone. The literature supports this. Speed, agility, and quickness training significantly enhance tennis-specific movement, enabling faster reaction, sharper direction changes, and improved acceleration. Finally, this type of movement training pays dividends in match situations where fatigue and decision-making becomes stressed. By habituating excellent footwork in training, Rublev ensures that when pressures mount, his body still responds in a mechanically efficient way. Better first step movement, improved recovery steps after the shot, and stability on landing all combine to give him an edge in tight rallies and when facing top opponents. From his past interviews and coach commentary, the area of physical conditioning was identified as a place for improvement. His fitness coach observed that despite Rublev already being very good at everything, extraordinary physically, there was still work to be done in coordination, acceleration, and deceleration. In his own words, after an injury layoff, he said, "It was tough, but a great lesson. I was not able to play with the right hand, but could do the fitness, the footwork." So he used time off court not only to recover, but to strengthen his body for what he faces on court. Why this type of training is beneficial is multifaceted. First, strength and conditioning allow him to generate higher racket head speeds and stronger serves. He himself credits his physical strength improvement and even a racket change with being able to serve harder and improve his second serve velocity. Secondly, it helps in maintaining intensity over the course of long rallies, long matches, and tournaments. Recovery, stamina, and resilience matter just as much as single shots. When you're competing at an elite level, you'll often face opponents who can match you technically, so the physical edge becomes more pronounced under fatigue. Third, a solid conditioning foundation mitigates injury risk. If you're properly conditioned, muscles, joints, and connective tissues are better able to handle the demands of explosive starts, sudden stops, directional changes, and high repetition of strokes. Given tennis stop-start and rotational nature, that becomes vital. How has this helped him address weaknesses in his career? One consistent critique of Rublev in his earlier years was that while his power game was high, his second serve lacked punch and consistency. He would struggle with double faults and get exploited on the return. By getting stronger and improving his physical conditioning, he has been able to increase his second serve speed, reduce vulnerability, and thus turn a past weakness into a less exploitable area. Moreover, during his injury period, it appears the focus on conditioning helped him come back stronger mentally and physically. When his hand injury prevented him from playing fully, he emphasized fitness work so that when he returned, he had improved. That mindset shift, turning a weakness, injury, or forced downtime into an opportunity, shows how strength and conditioning had an indirect benefit. First, cardio training supports endurance, not merely in the sense of being able to run for long periods, but in maintaining high performance levels over 2, 3, and even 5-set matches. In tennis, especially, you have frequent bursts of maximal effort, running for a wide ball, sprinting across the court, exploding into a shot, followed by short recovery phases. Having a strong aerobic base allows Rublev to recover faster between these bursts, to maintain lateral and diagonal movements, and to keep his output high even when fatigue sets in. Without strong cardio conditioning, he might still get there during the first set or two, but the quality of his movement, the sharpness of his shots, and the ability to react decline as fatigue accumulates. Second, using the stationary bike is especially smart because it allows him to build cardiovascular fitness while managing joint impact and integrating recovery protocols. Stationary bikes offer a non-impact or low-impact alternative to running, which is valuable for a player covering a dense tournament calendar and aiming to minimize the conditioning while keeping loads sensible and reduce the chance that his sessions will exacerbate prior mobility or joint issues. Third, cardio training plays a crucial role in speed and recovery between points and between sessions. For Rublev, whose game is built on aggressive positioning, a punchy forehand, high-tempo rallies, and frequent transitions, being able to re-accelerate after a sprint, recover quickly, and position himself for the next phase is vital. Cardio work helps the cardiovascular and metabolic systems handle frequent high-intensity efforts, reduce lactate buildup, and shorten the recovery window between efforts. The stronger his aerobic system, the more readily he can reload for the next sprint, the next explosive shot, instead of limping into the next rally. Over matches and tournaments, that ability to repeatedly turn the engine over is what prevents him from dropping in performance. Fourth, in addressing weaknesses in his career, Rublev's cardio work has helped him stabilize his physical output when he's under pressure or deep into tournaments. Early on, his coach noted Rublev's mobility and body readiness were weaker than needed for consistent top-level performance. Though most of the commentary focused on movement and mobility, strong cardio is the foundation beneath those attributes. Better cardio means that when he may be behind in a match, forced into longer rallies, or facing challenging conditions, heat, humidity, frequent tournaments, travel, his body can still cope and deliver high-quality movement and shots. In that sense, cardio training has helped mitigate one of his prior vulnerabilities. When his physical readiness wanes, his game would become less reliable.